Right, okay, welcome back to Shacktime, everyone. This video today is slightly different than the norm. I'm running a little bit behind on quite an important job that I haven't done, which should have been done a week ago. And that is to reprogram some radios. So a friend of mine, he's an electrical contractor, works all around the Midlands, and in the past they've used a lot of network radios. Now, as you know, I'm a big fan of network radios, and they've worked well for him up until now. There's been occasions where they've had a few issues with telephone signal, you know, 3G, 4G. I've covered all that before, but generally they work okay from office to the vehicles to the men on site. The problem is they're working on a site at the moment, or just started to work on a site, whereby the telephone coverage is virtually non-existent, and they still need to remain in contact with each other whilst on this site. Excuse me. So they're looking at going back to using VHF radios or UHF radios. So in the past they've used Motorola's, they've had ICOMs, and they paid an awful lot of money, and really you don't need to do that nowadays. You know, there's a lot of cheaper alternatives, especially in that kind of industry where things are getting dropped and damaged and everything else. So if you drop and smash a Motorola radio, you're looking at a couple of £100 to get it repaired if you're lucky. Whereas if you have like a Veta radio, or you have the old Mitex, or even the various different types of Bofengs, you're talking like 10 quid a handset. And you know, they work just as well, maybe not as durable, but you know what, they're so cheap to replace if you have to, then they're an excellent choice to go for. So what he wanted was, he's got a couple UHF radios already, and he's actually got a license for certain frequencies that he uses. They're not the general licenses, they're not PMR, but they are within the UHF band. So what he's done, he's given me the frequency, and he's basically wants me to program a few radios for him to use. So the first one we were looking at was the Zastone A28. Now this one I've done a review on in the past, so I'm not going to harp on too much about it, but this one I think is actually 10 watts in power, and it works really well, and it does come across clearer when talking on other handsets. I think it's definitely clear that you are getting more power out of one of these handsets. So that's the Zastone A28. Now, for the workmen who are going to be working in one of the particular areas, they wanted something that was small and compact, something light, and it's going to have to be body worn. So with that in mind, and charging is an issue as well. Now, a lot of these radios, you have to have radio charger docks for them. So like the A28, for instance, is this one here. Can't get that one on the film. It's the A28 charger here. And this is ideal for office. It's 240 volt mains. It's fastened in, and it just sits in and charges. So that's ideal for the porter cabin to be used as the office. And it is a very sturdy, a very good, tough, almost ABS type feel to this. So that's perfect. For the handhelds, they're looking at something a little bit different. They want something that can be charged up using USB, maybe a 5 volt supply, maybe charging up using a car charger from a vehicle, maybe even like a phone charger. So what I was looking at was to programming these Bofengs. Now these Bofengs are 16 channel. They claim to be 5 watt, but in reality you're looking at about 1, 1.5, maybe 2 at a push. But they're okay, they're not too bad, they're fairly loud. Battery life on them, with using them, they'll last them a day. There shouldn't be any issues with that. But again, they wanted something maybe a little bit smaller. And I said, well, I don't think you're going to get much smaller than that, really, for the want. However, for the charging aspect, maybe we need to look at that. Now, these are the docking stations to charge these. They have to sit in a cradle, like so, and they charge up. And these ones are ideal, as in they come with USB plugs on, so they can be plugged into a USB charger or a computer to charge up on. The only problem with those is that the charger station itself, if they're travelling around, you're relying on the radio not falling down. And one of the things I wanted to be able to do is to charge it whilst out and about, and I wasn't confident that these would be ideal. So the best alternative I could find was the Zastone V77. Now the Zastone V77, slightly lower in power. This one is, you're talking, well, it's advertised as being about 2 watts. Now, or it's actually advertised, I think it's 3 watts. In reality, you get 1 watt or thereabouts. It's got a fixed antenna, so I've not been able to test the power using my meter, but it's 16 channel. It's quite a loud one. It's very thin, it's very compact. I'll show you on that camera there. And it's got a battery that can come out if it needed to be replaced. It comes out quite easily, but we don't have any spares, so not really an advantage. But the main advantage to this one is the charging port on this one is a micro USB. Now, okay, so these are USBs as well. However, these don't need to sit in a docking station. These can be sat on the seat or on the dash of a van, and you can just plug in a micro USB lead. For example, one of the older Samsung or mobile phone chargers, stick it straight into the side, straight into the USB in the vehicle, and it'll charge them up. Again, they last a long time, they're nice and slim, and also don't forget you've got the standard Kenwood plugs, so if you wanted to connect a separate microphone speaker, which they probably will want to do, then that is something that we've got in stock ready for them to go ahead and use. So what I need to do, given the frequencies that I've been given, I've got one on charge here at the moment, just plugged in and charged. That's pretty much now charged, ready to go. I need to now connect these up and get these programmed. Now, I'm using a different computer than I used years ago when I first got these, and getting the software transferred over has been a nightmare. I think I found a site that gives me the software to download. So I've installed it. I'm going to give it a go and try and get it set up now. I can't show you the programming of the frequencies themselves because I've been asked by my friend that he doesn't want them to be publicised. They are legal, he just doesn't want people to know, so I'm going to respect his privacy on that, but I'll show you basically how we're going to start and how we're going to get these programmed. Okay, so the first thing we want to do then, the first thing we need to do is to load up the software. So let's load up the Zastone V77 software. Okay, so the second thing we need to do is to get the radio itself connected. So by doing that, make sure the radio is turned off. The USB lead is already plugged into the computer, so that's ready to go. We're then going to get the plug, make sure it's the right way around, push it in as far as it will go, switch it on, and often you have to make sure the volume's on full for these to work. Put it down, and first thing I want to do is to make sure we've got a connection. Now I know that I need to first of all check the COM port, right, so I'm using COM port 5, so that's good. Let's now have a read of the radio. And once it's read the radio and it's filled in all these frequencies here, I can then save that as a file, and then I can write that onto this radio at a later stage, save me having to manually type all the frequencies in again. So effectively, we're creating a code plug. Code plugs are effectively, it's this program, this file that you're going to install onto a radio. So we're going to save as V77 original. I'm not going to save it in documents. I'm going to save it just for my purpose onto the desktop. Save there. Right, okay. And then what we need to do is to then clear the frequencies. So the easiest way, I think, is just to select. Now at the moment, as you can see, I've just got PMRs on here. So I need to go ahead and type in the frequency. Now, just for purposes of showing you how this works, as I said, I can't show you the actual frequencies we're going to be using, but let me just put in another PMR. So you type in the frequency 446.00 325. Okay, okay, there isn't. 4460050. And then the frequencies will go in there. Let's put a few more in, say 449, 225. And then, as you can see, we don't want to be using any duplex frequencies. They're all simplex. There's no repeaters involved, so the receive's the same as transmit. We're not using any CTC or DCS codes. We're not having any scrambles or anything like that. Scrambles are all off. Wide or narrow band, it's best to use narrow band. Wide band takes up quite a bit of the band and can distort other local frequencies close to the ones we're using. Battery save option we're going to keep on. Beep tone, now we're going to keep that one off. It's a bit of a nuisance. We don't need any codes or passwords to type in there. So once we're happy with that, the radio stays exactly as it is on the side. We've not had to touch that radio at all. We're now going to tell it to write. So write data to radio, click OK, and we leave it to write. Okay, that's cool. That's all done. We turn the radio off. We then unplug. Turn it back on.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
And there we go. So,
2, 1, 2.
just 2 channels programmed in.
2.
Bit of interference on the radio there. And that's done. That's all set up. Let me see, in fact, if I've got a fist mic I can use. Because they are going to be needing fist mics, so I might as well get one ready now. Okay, so I haven't got a fist mic up here with me, and I'm not going to the shed again. I've been running around all day in and out of that shed. I'll get it later on. But there you go, that's how you do it. Nice and simple. So, what I'm going to do now is to quickly just get this programmed to the frequencies that I do need to have. Sorry, dog. The dog's lying on the lead. Okay. So, that's all done. It really isn't that difficult. The hardest part I found with all this is trying to find all the correct leads and the software. The software that comes with these radios, if you're lucky, it's all in Chinese, so you're having to get the language transferred to English. Then you're having to find a lead that works. Now, I tend to use a lot of these adapters, whereby you get the separate lead, which plugs into the one USB plug. But I've had a lot of problems with those, and I really struggled to get the Zastone A28 sort of set up properly. But I managed it. The Zastones, the lead is very well, it is the same lead as the Bofengs and the Vators and everything else. So hopefully this will do the job for them. I think the next choice that I would use is probably the Vator radio. Now this is a radio that I've done a review on. This I was very impressed with. It's not as thin or as light as the V77, but it's very loud audio, and for construction sites in a noisy environment, it's absolutely ideal. Range-wise, again, you've got quite a good range. You're looking at probably 2 to 3 watts of output power, but they don't actually need that much power for the sort of distances they are away. Just your sort of even basic PMR radios would have done the job, to be honest. It's just the interference from other users. So that's all sorted, and I'm happy with those. So I'm going to go and get these, get the other Zastone programmed up, get these charged, get them boxed up. I'm going to go and get the fist mic. It's the fist mic that you've seen with all the these radios, all the Bofengs. It's all the same. Get those boxed up and get those shipped off to him, so we can use those for tomorrow morning when he starts his first day on the site. Right, that's it then. It's been a hectic couple of hours. You know what, just the simplest of jobs is taking me way longer than it should have done. And I think the secret to this is to label your leads properly. If you've got multiple programming leads, all these, program them up or label them up, Keep the software organised for programming, and you know, you're not going to go far wrong there. And because I move from inside to outside, it causes problems and your things get lost. But now it's done, so I'm happy with that. Right, if that's been of some interest, then great. If you're stuck and you're struggling to find the link to the Zastone V77 software, drop me a message down below, because I know there's a lot of people who have been struggling, and the available links that I originally had are now dead anyway. So I've found a reliable link, so if you need a link, please let me know. Same as the Zastone A28, I've got the link to that one as well, so let me know if you need it. Okay, going to let you carry on with what you're doing. I'm going to carry on with what I'm doing, and I'll catch you in the next video.